Well, hey, everybody. What's going on? It has been a long time. We apologize for that. But you know what? Life happens and you get busy. Not like we're not getting busy with each other. Just life gets busy.
You're getting busy having sex.
Oh, we apologize. We've been away, but like we said, we've both been incredibly busy. But you know what? We just dropped each other a line the other day and just said, hey, let's do something. So here we are, the beginning of October, and we're going to rock out some Rocktober for you with some movies that we've picked to some degree. And for you that don't know, if you're just joining us for the first time, I am Rick, and I am nothing without my co-partner over here, the co-captain of the ship, Mr. Danny Bennett. What's up, my brother?
Man, that is a statement that is far from true. I mean, you stand alone, but I'm glad to be with you here in War Rocket Ajax. You know, the two of us together, perusing the movies of our childhood and our adulthood and all kinds of other hoods and people's hoods and just saying, you know what, I like this movie or I don't. In the case of Milo, you know, that kind of thing. We are here to inform and entertain, hopefully, while we talk about movies that we have enjoyed together.
Yes, absolutely. And today is no surprise for any of you, really, if you listen to this show any at all. But one other thing before we get going is this is bare knuckled Hail Ming, right? We don't do it. We ain't got the flashy stuff. We ain't got the. I couldn't get any, famous people to come and do synopsis for us. No celebrities. So we're just kind of at a point where you know what? Let's just get together and crank these out because we having sex in the hood, y'all.
That's right. That's right. We're what was it? We're getting busy.
Getting busy
But
in the hood.
that's the thing is that right now, you know, if you have been with us through this journey until this point, then you're just glad to engage with us, and we're glad to engage with you. We're glad to give you something back. But you know, we kind of gave us some bells and whistles early on, some sound effects and some skits and some celebrity, so some celebrities. And you know, we're glad to be able to still have an audience and have you guys enjoy just the manic silliness that is me and Rick, because we love it. You know, it's fun for us too.
So instantly, I'm starting to see the numbers of downloads just drop from the first 2 minutes of. What do you mean, no celebrities? What do you mean, no bells and whistles?
You mean John Cleese isn't in this? No Rip Torn?
Oh, but you know who is in this? Yeah, I don't either. I don't know anybody in this movie.
That's good. Yeah. Fade Alvarez.
Fade Alvarez or Feedy. I don't know what he prefers, but
you know, I meant to look up the pronunciation of his name just so that I had it right, but I didn't get a chance to. But I did watch the movie for a second and third time since we first saw it, and I think that's more important because we're talking about a feeling here, a feeling
with feeling. But what we are talking about is the 2013 remake of Evil Dead. And what a way to kick off the Halloween season. Then one of our favorite horror movie trilogies by far.
Right.
And when you talk about remakes a lot of time, you know, I tell you what, we really give a good pass on the Friday the 13th remake, which we both thought was very entertaining. I think it makes a difference when you're not a diehard, gotta have every episode fan of a series. I've seen all the Friday the 13th. I know Danny has too, but you're not one of those that just, you know, is a aficionado on everything Friday the 13th, and you go and watch the reboot, and you're like, okay, I get it, it works. This is a situation where we are both diehard Evil Dead fans, and we walked into this remake, and I think from my first appearance of it I was very impressed with it. So I'm interested to see, since we've rewatched it and it's been, you know, 20 years, 10 years. I can't add. I'm from Tennessee. So, or was that subtraction? I don't know. Maybe a little division. But
maybe a little division, just a little.
Hey, do you love the fact of when you Google this movie, the first person in the cast that pops up is Bruce Campbell?
Yeah,
He-
it's like people also searched for. Yeah.
but it's like when you look up cast, it just, I mean, Bruce Campbell's first, and then Jane Levy's second.
I might lose some listeners for us right here, but I don't remember Bruce Campbell being in this one. Like, does they have a cameo in this?
In the very end, after the movie's over, the screen pans and his face comes on the screen and he goes, groovy, and it goes off.
I've watched it 3 times and I think I was like, there's nothing after the credits here. Like,
Uh-huh.
honestly, after the end game at the end of this movie, I couldn't expect anymore.
Right. Yeah.
I and I'm just gonna kick into it and say I absolutely love this Evil Dead. I love the first ones for the
Yep.
goofy silliness and the horror and the fact that it was done on a shoestring budget and then redone. I love everything about the original trilogy, and I love this one too,
Yeah.
because I can tell that it was done with love, and it was done to give credit to and fealty to the original.
Well, to me, it captures, not only are you retelling a classic story and you're, you know, tapping into a lot of the classic stuff, but I really think you're getting into where Sam Raimi's mind was as far as turning the horror world on its ear and just, it does such a good job of all those standard tropes that or even now are kind of standardized and none of them work out like they normally do. And you have to stand up and applaud for that because it does those things very well.
Yeah, it's well, and let's just talk about it. It's a great movie.
Yep.
Like, one of the first things that I love about it is the whole rehab setup. You
Yep.
know, Mia is there for rehab, and she's done this before. Her friends don't trust her, and so you get this whole built-in plot device where when she starts freaking out, rightfully, the audience can freak out with her, but her friends don't trust her because she's proven to be unreliable. She's
Right.
proven to be an addict who's willing to do whatever she can to get out of this process. And so you have this real suspension of disbelief.
Right.
It's not just a bunch of kids, wanting to party down in a horrifying shack. It's people there for a reason, and when the reason is threatened, they have a legitimate reason
Right.
not to cut and run.
It's the old Rosemary's Baby, mindset, the psycho thriller of, is this stuff really happening? Is it just in her head? I mean, we know it's really happening, but to her friend's case and her brother's case, yeah, she's freaked out. She said crazy stuff before. I gotta get out of here. We gotta leave right now. I mean, she don't talk
Yeah.
that way. That's my interpretation. So,
No, I think that was actually lines from the yeah, when they found all those dead cats in the basement. I mean,
yeah.
it's time
Well,
to go.
of course, I did the old standard of just reasons to watch. And I know we don't have to, but come on, man. The opening scene, you go and sit in a theater and you're an Evil Dead fan, and just like if you're a fan of whatever movie you're going to see and it's a sequel or a reboot or whatever, you want that one thing that really sets the pace for everything you're about to get into. Man, this opening scene is way up there for opening scenes for a movie.
I
I
love
mean,
it.
it's it is about as intense of anything you're going to witness, and the whole setup of, we're talking about Mia here with the drug issue, but
Yeah.
look at what happens at the very beginning with this other person who's just wandering. You feel like they're lost in the woods. They've been through something tragic, and you got her father down there with this spooky witch lady with a book, and they're pouring the gasoline all over, and there's all these people standing around look like they're from The Hills Have Eyes. Who are these people? Oh, they're all good people.
They're all
Really?
good people.
Yeah.
They're good people. Yeah,
Wow.
I love it because it sets the stage too for what the demons do, where they overtake somebody and then they give them back,
Right.
so that the people involved have to decide whether they're willing to sacrifice their loved ones.
Right.
And it's like the guy's like, now you killed your mother. That's what happened here. And you're not you. And we're going to end this. But the audience isn't along for that ride yet.
Right.
The audience is still going, oh, these people are murderers, you know. And I've got the prologue here too, because it sets the stage for what kind of hijinks these demons use
Yep.
to torture and commit chaotic violence on these poor people who are trapped in this place. And it does it all kind of like encapsulated at the beginning, so you get an idea of where it's going. And I think it's masterful.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that just right there is worth watching the movie alone, is just to see this opening scene, because you're going to watch from that point on, because it is just too in your face, craziness. And wow, it is done so well.
Agreed. And little things about it too, like the fact that they wrap up the Necronomicon in plastic and barbed wire,
Yeah.
and they've got like a plastic bottle of oil. It's like, this wasn't that long ago.
Right.
This wasn't like 1692. This was like within 20 years, probably.
Yeah, not long
this
at
is
all.
just some people living up here in the woods, encountering this evil and doing what they have to do. And it could be any timeline, but there are little things that make you realize it was contemporary.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it could have been in the last 2-3 years. I mean, who knows? Sure. So yeah, it's that opening scene is just amazing, man. So
I agree. I love it.
But yeah, the idea of taking the sister out and all the friends to be there by her side to get her through, detoxing, which enough is tragic, but wow.
I was going to save this to the end, but since we've mentioned it a couple of times, I'm just going to say that, without a knowledge of the previous Evil Dead and realizing that it's an esoteric force, a timeless evil, you could almost think that this was just a story about addiction. Because Mia goes through all this, she hurts her friends, she kills her family, she destroys her whole support network, and then she ends up fighting herself in multiple forms.
Absolutely.
As this thing overtakes her. And it could really easily be a horrific parable to, just the dangers or the evils or the torture of addiction.
Right. It's kind of like Superman in Superman 3, right?
Right, where they put the tar in the kryptonite, and right. Richard Pryor's there.
He was in this movie too, right? He's like third billing.
I don't know. I didn't wait till the end. Apparently everybody shows up at the end. I mean, what the hell? I'm mad about that.
Oh, all right. How about, I don't know if you got notes that you want to.
I do. If you want to go to the reasons to watch, I'm on board.
Hey, you pull one up. It's your turn, man.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say the callbacks of the nail gun and the electric knife.
Yep.
Early on, you see a nail gun in use, kind of repairing this broke down cabin. I guess this guy can't help himself. He's a mechanic. He likes to fix things, and he's nail gunning the door frame. And I'm like, oh, there's a nail gun. That's going to come up later. And then not too long after, somewhere in the late act 1 or maybe act 2, there's an electric knife that starts the scene, cutting through some meat. I'm like, yep, that's coming back.
And amazing too, that electric knife, if you look at it, I'm trying to put this together and make sure that I'm right. Mm-hmm. But I think even the color of the knife, the actual plastic part of it, is the same color as the blender in the original when it just jumps to that scene and it makes that sound. So it's almost they're playing that same part, as just a different implement.
And it's a love letter. Those things just, they absolutely are coming back, and anybody watching the movie knows they're going to come back.
Right.
And I love it.
You know what we were missing though? We should have had the remake or the reboot of the Hills Have Eyes poster in the basement.
I was looking for that. But I get why they didn't do it. But right? I definitely think that it would have been a fun callback for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something I've got in my notes, is how many tips of the hats. It's so many nice tip of the hats to all 3 movies of the original trilogy, believe it or not. There's definitely part two stuff in there. It's basically part one retold, but there's a lot of the two in there with the hand going bad and all that stuff. Except the hand's not doing anything afterwards. But the
Yeah.
whole fact that that girl's sitting there doing the, it's like you expect her to start beating herself up like Ash. But then also, I got the feelings for part three when her brother goes down to save. He was going back down there to get her, and they fight
Yeah.
in that water. And I think
Yes.
about, man, part three when he's down there in that pit.
And he's just getting thrown up against the
Yeah,
wall from
yeah,
these waylays from the bad guy. Yeah.
yeah. So
I
yeah, pulls
I
from
saw
all
I
that
thought that
stuff.
too.
Yeah, of course you did.
Well, yeah, it's there. It's there.
I've got. How about the book being such a bigger player in this movie than in the original? I mean, this thing is it's prophetic and it's productive. I mean, it already if they would just flip the pages a little faster, they would know what was going to happen.
Yeah, not only does it show you the stages of the possession in chapter form, but also I love the fact that somebody's gone through and tried to cover up the dangers and written warnings over the passages
Yeah,
because you know obviously somebody who knows the evil of this book is going to do that. They're going to try and keep others from making that mistake, which are you just ignored by and I've got right here Nancy Drew the Necronomicon, right? You got this, oh, it's a demon summoning passage and somebody's marked it all out. Well, I'm going to use my onion skin Nancy Drew, pencil trick and get the words and then read them out loud. Then later he's gonna go, I think I did something. Well, yeah, you did, Eric.
Eric. Uh, that's one
Yeah,
thing I did miss. He should have still been named Scott because I kind of missed
I kind of
Scott.
wanted to call him Scott the whole time,
Scott.
man. Shut up, Linda.
Oh, yeah, man. I do like the way the book plays into this, and it also reminds me of what was the movie we did on Movie Flash that kind of ties into the book. What was it? Birdemic? I mean, no, what was it?
Antrim. Antrim?
Antrim. Yeah,
Yeah. It's
kind of the
kind
same
of like the
concept. Yeah, of the book.
kind of
You
like
know,
Clerks, where every stage has that little like one word, catharsis is the
right?
one I remember. And it's kind of they use the book to segue into the next level of the possession.
You heard it here first, folks. According to Hell Ming, the new the newest rendition of Evil Dead is just like Clerks.
Just like Clerks. Clerks 3, I'm excited about it.
Oh yeah, I don't know what I feel about it yet.
I like Kevin Smith, and apparently
Sure.
this is kind of a it's an opus from what I hear.
Hmm.
I haven't seen it, so I can't tell you.
Yeah.
That's
We'll
how
see.
much of a movie file I am. I want to
Uh,
see it, and I have it because I'm not.
like the first two, so we'll see.
Yeah, I love movie The Olden Calf.
What you got next, man?
Next, I've got the Woods possession scene,
Oof.
which is a throwback to the Woods scene in the was that it's the Evil Dead 1 where the
Right.
where the Woods violate a member of the party.
Yeah.
And this was very much like it's an unbirthing where this evil finds its way into Mia as she is bound by the Woods and it possesses her in a very physical way.
Yeah.
And not that I loved it, but I feel like it was a really disturbing and appropriate return to that scene without it having kind of some of the problems. I saw an interview with Sam Raimi where, somebody brought up um, the Woods scene and he seemed chagrined by it. He was like, it was kind of a youthful
Right.
fantasy. It wasn't something I ever wanted to happen, but I wanted to put it on film because it was something that they had done in a previous 8mm film. And he did it. And he was like, if I could do it again, I wouldn't.
Hmm.
And I felt like this is a way to keep that because it is part of the mythology,
Absolutely.
but to do it in a way where it wasn't gratuitous, it was frightening and alarming
Right.
in a way that
You still
kept
knew
it.
what happened without having to see it. So,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
it
and
was.
it's amazing because in most people's minds, when they think of the first Evil Dead, you know, nobody ever says, "Oh, I think I've seen that one." Oh, you got to say, "Oh, that's the movie with the trees," right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, for them to take that and again, that's what I like about this version is they're still retelling it. The same thing happens just in a different way. So,
Right. And the technology, I mean, you got to say that
yeah,
they have a lot more money. They had a
sure.
lot more technology than the original,
Hmm.
and it shows. They did a great job of making it real clean. Um, it's a beautifully filmed,
Yeah, it's well
horror
done.
film.
Very well done. So, uh, let's see. You did the wood scene. I will say, and I kind of brought this up earlier, the whole overall bait and switch with all the characters and the iconic scenes, just like what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
You still get the context. The majority of it's still in place. It's just happening to different people at different times. Like I said, you got, tip of the hats to two in here with the girl using the electric knife to cut the arm off.
Yeah.
While Mia's in the basement saying, "Don't you dare do it! Don't you dare do it!" Uh, all these things are happening that happened to Ash in the first, but they're happening to all these different people at different times. So,
Right.
it was just a nice way of, again, keeping everything intact, but just telling it in a different way. Most of the time, that's where they kind of lose it when they're doing a remake. Is they either totally disacknowledge things that whoever did the rewriting of the script just didn't like about it, or you know, or sometimes you just say, you know what, we probably can't do it any better than that. Probably just leave it alone. Don't even, you know. So I think the way that they handle it here really works.
Yeah. They reimagined it. I think that's the best term for it.
But
It
but
wasn't
it's
just
done
a
smart.
rewrite.
Yeah, it's done smartly though, and
It,
that's what's
it
different.
yeah, it was reimagined. It was all the same things, but it was like, what if we made it more horrifying? What if we made it more gritty? But yeah, I agree wholeheartedly that, like, I mean, it's a love letter, and like, it doesn't hurt that Bruce and Rob and Sam were involved.
Well, that's I think that's the key to this, right? Because most of the successful reboots or reimaging or whatever you say, when they get the blessing of the people involved in the original, and there actually is a relationship there, how's that not going to work out for the best?
Absolutely. So that goes right into my next point, which is I kind of love the fact that Mia is Ash. Like,
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, and if you can even say, well, they shoehorned it because she was the villain through the majority of it, but that happens to Ash too.
Absolutely.
He gets possessed and then he kicks it and comes back. And with the help of her brother, she is buried alive and then refibrillated with the defibrillator, which I love that scene. He looks over at the shelf and he sees the chainsaw and then up to the car battery, and he makes the defibrillator, brings her back to life. And then she is both the antagonist through most of the film, doing all this horrible stuff. And then also she ends up being the hero at the end, combating the evil.
Yep.
And
Yeah. I
I'm
mean,
not even going to get into that scene because
you taking Sister Cheryl and Ash and making them the same person.
it's right.
But the Ash is actually, if you pull it from part two, because that's where he does the transformation
Sure.
and stuff. So
Where he
again,
becomes
that's
Ashbow.
they're blending the whole legacy together, and that's the beauty of it. Let's see.
100%.
I've got. I said best intervention movie I've ever seen. Because if this doesn't kick you from drugs, nothing will.
Man, I mean, it'll either kick you from it or it'll drive you to it, one or the other.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about that later on. It's like, wow, she's really facing her demons here. So,
Yeah,
uh,
I'm gonna have to say, just for shock value, the click razor scene.
yeah. Oh man, cool.
I mean, I just described that to Lois a little while ago. You know what I was saying? Yeah, this movie,
Yeah,
and she couldn't even listen to me describing it.
yeah.
And it's just very, and it was in the trailer if I remember correctly.
Yep. Hmm.
And it's Mia clicks the click razor, and you know how sharp those things are, and just licks it
Yeah.
to mess with David's girlfriend, and I don't remember her name, like Angel, something like that.
Sure.
But yeah, And like, she doesn't even bring her down to kill her or anything. She just wants to mess with her.
Just a tormentor. Yep.
And that click razor definitely does the trick. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't even imagine that being and then she says, "Kiss me, you,"
Yeah.
a word that only Duncan McLeish can say.
That's right. It's legal in Scotland, so
It's legal, not legal here.
yeah. I mean that, and of course, what she tells her brother when he pulls her up and why don't you come
Yeah,
on down? I mean, it's very kind of exorcist language
yeah.
going on here. So
Referring to their mom as a whore and lots of
yeah,
terrible stuff.
you sew socks that smell, that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, we're back to Richard Pryor.
Right. Yo, mama.
But
Oh, what else you
really
got?
though,
Oh,
I
go
mean,
ahead.
I've got two more things, and I touched on one already with the car battery defibrillator. The mechanic brother makes a defibrillator out of some
Yeah.
syringes and a car battery to bring his sister back to life, and it seems like it isn't going to work in typical movie fashion until it does.
Mhm.
Um, and then the next thing I've got is, man, that final showdown where it's raining blood.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
mean, holy
Literally
cow.
raining blood. Blood. I mean, I told somebody, I said, this could be the bloodiest movie I've ever seen.
The sky, I mean, like, it's got all the blood that came out of that well in Army of Darkness. it it rains blood, and the ground saturated, and then the evil Mia comes out of the ground, and she has to fight her. And that whole showdown,
Yeah.
all the way to, again, where she becomes Ash, and she loses her arm
Yep.
and starts that chainsaw.
Yep.
It's that is 100, that is incredible, that whole ending.
Yeah. It's over the top. I mean, I'm gonna feast on your soul. Feast on this. I
Yeah.
mean, wow.
and,
and
and the whole time the cabin's on fire in the background, right?
yep.
I
Which
mean,
brings up a good point that I thought when I watched it again. I was like, she just ripped her arm off.
yeah.
She just killed the bad guy, so you probably want to go over there and stick your arm in there and get that cauterized real good.
Yeah, I was watching that with my son, and he was like, in movies they often don't mention how much blood you lose, and
Right.
I'm like, oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think some characters have been shocked, but not Mia right now. And that's probably a dramatic decision. But yeah, I mean, she just tore her own arm off, because can we talk about that she's crawling under the
Oh
Jeep,
man.
and then
Wow.
like the evil Mia, who's just a stick of a girl like her, lifts up the Jeep and flips it on her, and
with
she gets out of the way except for her arm.
with one hand, really. I
Oh
mean,
man, that's
yeah, it's awesome. I mean, it
because
really
she
is.
because she chops into evil Mia's leg, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, she's scoring points. No,
Nah.
no, she ain't scoring points.
Right. She's just getting started.
No.
It's just
Yeah.
a flesh wound.
Is that in this one? I think it was.
It is now. Um, I made a list, and don't get me wrong, I think this movie is great. I
Yeah.
really do. I, I mean,
Uh-oh, here it comes.
but here's the things I missed, right? And this is just nostalgia, right?
Milk.
So, nah, I can do without the milk. But I do miss the white eyes. To me, that's just scarier for some reason when they just go completely white. With the eyes that they have and the way they stand, you
I
really
like
can't
yellow.
you can't differentiate between these people that are possessed any different than the zombies from the newer walking not Walking Dead but Day of the Dead. That becomes kind of like the normal look for anybody that's back from the dead, right?
Hey, you know what scares you, and I get it.
Yeah,
Like a blank pupil and iris is definitely a
yeah.
scary.
And it goes back
Yeah.
to Superman 3 again when that woman gets pulled in that machine.
Yeah.
She comes out with those silver eyes, and that just freaked me out. So there's something about not having anything there is scarier than any kind of form of pupils.
I get that.
Uh, I missed the knife, the Kandarian knife.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
the with the spine
I can see why you
handle.
leave it out, but at the same time, it should at least be in a scene. Just even if it's art decoration on the wall or a picture of it, or just because that's such a big part of it too.
I do like the Necronomicon not burning. That was a cool, to
Yeah,
have it in that
yeah,
trash
I
can
thought
and
that was
like the
cool too.
fire's licking the sides of it, but it's not
Right,
burning. That was cool.
right. And the last thing, even though we just described how awesome the ending of this is, I still do miss the incarnate of the evil coming out and it being a huge type beast,
Yeah.
where it's the culmination of everything. The souls are in it, the trees are in it. Remember the hands come through the windows and it's they're branches off the trees and
Like the Grither. Yeah.
right. So I kind of miss that. I see why they didn't do it because it gives you the frame of mind of kind of what you talked about earlier. It's a personal battle. You could
Yeah.
easily say this is a personal battle. So I kind of get it, but there's a part of me that kind of misses it too.
Sure. Sure.
That's
I
all
mean,
I got.
and
That's the only gripes I got.
well, there's a reason to go back and watch the original Evil Dead and not to take your whole experience from this. But
Right.
they were trying, I think they were going for a more on the ground, realistic feel. And those big things maybe detracted from it.
To
Maybe
get
not the
it
knife.
to get it back to the original idea, and that's probably what the argument is. Oh, we were just trying to get back to the original. But again, I I, I recommend this to anybody that's a horror fan. I don't see how you haven't seen this one. I understand, you know, seeing the originals because of the nostalgia, but if you have not watched this remake, you're missing a really good horror movie.
And one thing that I noticed when watching it, if you're just I'm a huge Sam Raimi fan,
Yep.
so I could see, hey, this isn't Sam Raimi. Evil Dead is Sam Raimi to me. Sure. If that's the way you feel, I respect that. But there are some scenes in there where you can tell that was a nod to Sam Raimi's filmmaking,
Absolutely.
and the one that jumps out to me is David's girlfriend is crawling out of the trap door. The two top stairs break. She vaults herself using that third unbroken stair onto the floor. And she feels like she's safe for a second, but I guess her feet are still hanging in the doorway and she gets dragged down. And it's just like a jump cut from her getting dragged down to the trap door shutting.
Yep.
And it it was very Sam Raimi to me.
Yeah.
The way that it was set up, the way that it was so quick. I just felt like it was a really good moment that was again another nod to the original filmmaker.
Hey, one thing we didn't talk about is how much abuse that Eric goes through.
Man, that guy.
Oh, I mean, Bruce Campbell was tortured by Sam Raimi, of all people, during the making of these movies. But this guy, man, I mean, it's like anything is going to go bad, he's going to get it.
And it's like everything goes for his eyes too, man.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and I guess because he's wearing glasses, so you got that whole false eyes thing with the going to the glasses, and then and it goes to the eyes too.
man.
I mean, like he gets nail gunned, he gets syringed. He has
Fingers
to
knocked off.
he has to beat somebody to death with a toilet.
Man, that whole scene, that was crazy.
Yeah, yeah, that was messed up.
The bathroom scene is about as intense as you're going to get.
And as per usual, the whole thing is we expect everybody to just watch the movie on a recommendation or not. I think we have in the past explained the whole plot of movies. That's a losing proposition. We're always going to
Right.
miss something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like it's brutal. It's in the vein of the original. It's well done.
Well, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Because in this version, Eric, aka Scott, walks in the bathroom and she's in there slicing and dicing on her face.
Yeah.
In the original, we get Scott walking in with a different haircut. He walks in, he's got a haircut, he turns around, no haircut. And then his girlfriend jumps on his back and then they rumble out in the front yard. Ooh, that's something else I missed. The biting off of their own hand.
in the things you miss. Yeah. Well, I mean, you can't have everything, or maybe you can.
But again, it makes up for it. I mean, that fight scene in the bathroom is
Well,
nasty. Is nasty.
well, and they have a dog, until
Yeah.
Mia beats it to death with a hammer off
Right.
camera.
Yeah.
That's
So
messed up.
sure is. So, but yeah. So folks out there, you can already tell we love it. I mean, it's not one of those that go, well, it's not as good as the original. I really, as a standalone movie, this thing is awesome. I would really put it up against really any newer horror movie that's come out in a while. Um, I just think it's that good. I think it's that it moves well. It's paced very well. Um, Even if you're not a fan or don't know anything about the original, you're going to walk away going, "Holy smokes, what did I just watch?" And that's exactly what we got from the original first time we watched it. So, what say you, Danny B?
Man, I mean, agreed. I love it. I think I saw it for the first time. You had it. We watched it on a trip back from Texas,
Yeah,
and I'm glad that I rewatched it. And I was even happier that I watched it the third time. Stuff I missed the first couple of times. It's just a good horror movie, and again, it does a lot of the things that the original I think set out to do
right.
because they were involved and because they had a lot of faith in the filmmakers.
Right. How about the looking glass necklace? And when it's laying on the ground, they tried to put the chain in the same design that Sam Raimi did in the original. It's supposed to look like a skull. I mean,
Yeah,
just
yeah, and
all those little
there's
things, you know.
and wasn't it supposed to in the original like the sun was supposed to refract through it and burn the
Burn the book.
Necronomicon and
Yeah,
everybody was like, yeah, that was a dumb
that's
idea. But I think somebody said they had to go find that thing at a pawn shop and they were like, it was so ugly. And
yeah. They spray
but
painted it.
but they still threw it in there because they
Yeah.
gave it some significance and they threw it in there because they cared about the source material.
Right. Right. So yeah. So there you go, folks. There's 2013's Evil Dead. If you haven't seen it, get off your butt, go check it out, or sit on your butt and check it out.
Yeah.
Because we getting busy in the hood, y'all.
And so what does Brian Blessed think about it? Hail Bing.
Hey, that was pretty good.
All right.
Hand me the remote control.
I thought about that one, but that's usually what he said when he didn't like something.
That's
I
true.
think he'd probably like it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Jive.
but yeah,
Uh,
it's
well, everybody, thanks for hanging out with us again. Let us know what you think. I mean, when you see this posted on Facebook or wherever, let us know what you think about this movie because it would really interest us to kind of see where you stand on this one because I can see the love hate thing, but I think
sure.
if you really look at this, it's one of the better remakes or retellings that I know of, and I'm talking about a movie that I care a lot about, and
Yeah,
that's hard to say. So, and I really think it holds up. Again, 10 years separated, and it still is like woof.
it gets the horror right. I mean, like
Yeah,
there's some legitimately disturbing scenes, and they aren't overdone. The effects are solid.
yeah.
It's not like Freddy versus Jason with a bunch of fake blood that's digitally made.
It's not
Like
fake, y'all. It's all
it,
real.
those things are fun, but like this doesn't get pigeonholed. This doesn't get captured in a moment in time. Like it still holds today as a legitimately frightening remake.
Right. Absolutely. Well, I think that's going to be it for this episode. Like we said, it's just kind of wham bam, thank you, ma'am, as far as cranking these out. But it's a chance for us to get together, talk about these movies, hopefully get you to check these movies out again, spend time with them, and realize what a gem they are and what joy or grief they can bring to your life.
That's a whole lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff. It's
Yeah,
stuff. So
joy, hate, all that.
yeah, you can't. Ying was searching for his yang.
But we are super glad to have you along. And again, it's we bring them to you because we love them, and we love you because you listen. So
Right.
hopefully we can bring some of this joy through the radio waves, and you can learn some new joy in your life too.
All right, man. That's all I got. You got anything else?
No, just have a great happy Halloween, happy October, everybody.
Right. Be careful out there in the hood. We'll see you later. Boing! I'd hit the sound there, but I don't have it.
Yeah.
Adios.